We are live now. So I'll just start with a quick introduction of Mataji, and then we can start the session. So Mataji is born to, was born in a devotee family. So by birth, like, she is into Krishna consciousness. So it's a very great fortune that we have very senior devotee like Mataji, who is, practicing Krishna consciousness in the very birth. And Mataji received initiation from Gurumaharaj in 2020. And Mataji was involved in multiple services in ISKCON Desire Tree, also like in content development, Deity services in Sridham Mayapur, various services. And currently Mataji is engaged in youth cult preaching under the guidance of Shiromani Mataji. So welcome Mataji. We'll welcome Mataji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Ma Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Over to you, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Prashi. So first of all, I would like to thank your team at Iskcon Seshadripuram for giving me an opportunity to speak a few words in the glorification of Gurumaharaj. I am not at all qualified, but thanks to you all that you're giving me this chance to speak a few words about Gurumaharaj's glories, which is like a very big ocean, and no matter how much we speak, it can never be enough. So I'll just start. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminati Namane Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripapadaya Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagar Grahamutarni Kamparoti Vachalam Pangum Landete Gatam Yaktapadam Hamlande Shri Gurum Dematadlam Paramanandamadvam Shri Chaitanya Ishu. So before beginning, I would like to seek blessings of our dear Guru Maharaj, that I can speak some worthy words in his glorification, because without his blessings, it's just impossible to do so. And then I would like to seek blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas who are assembled over here. And my mother-in-law and my protege, they're also there on the Zoom call. So I would like to seek their blessings as well, because both of them are a manifestation of Guru Maharaj's mercy in my life, and I will touch upon that in a short while. So the title of today's talk, which I've chosen, is Guru Maharaj, a very loving, dear spiritual father. So we all know, he has, all the disciples, they have this experience of how Guru Maharaj is so loving, and he wants to reciprocate in that loving way with all his disciples. And today I would like to share a few instances, both personal experiences, a few of other devotees, which really inspired and really touched me. So, and especially like it said that girls have a greater connect with their fathers. So that way it also becomes more special, that, somehow we feel more connected and more, that bond between Guru Maharaj even feels more special. So as you mentioned that I got initiated in 2020. So yeah, we know that, the bond between a spiritual master and a disciple is eternal. But then now that we have limited time, I would like to share some of the events or experiences that happened after that, in this last 3 years after my initiation. So first and foremost, I remember when I got initiated in March of 2020 in during God Purnima time in Sridham Mayapur. And as usual, it was, amidst a big group of devotees of over 500 people. And immediately after that, I returned back to Mumbai, and then very shortly, we had this COVID lockdown that took place. So we know that, Guru Maharaj obviously has this, mood of extending Prabhupada's mercy, Mahaprabhu's mercy to everyone. And he, despite his physical health or despite the health challenges, he used to travel extensively. But then during COVID, he was sort of restricted to Sridham Mayapur. So he came up with this very wonderful idea where he started doing Zoom visits to all his disciples' homes, and he used to accept their offerings, and very lovingly used to say, "Oh, so much love, but no calories." So I remember when it was the chance for Mumbai, like, the devotees in Mumbai to actually greet Guru Maharaj in their home. It was obviously a working day, and at a very short notice, we came to know that, okay, Guru Maharaj today will be visiting all the devotees in Mumbai. So immediately we got everything ready and to welcome him. And then I was waiting for my turn that, when and then suddenly the host, he called out my name and put me, like, unmuted me and put me on the spot screen. And then I was waiting, like, I was about to say, Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. But then before that, like, Guru Maharaj, the moment he saw me, he had like a very big smile and, that very exciteful expression on his face. And I was like so touched by it, because I was thinking that, I've just got recently initiated, and like there was a group of more than 500 devotees. Guru Maharaj has like over 50,000 disciples, and I am just one tiny insignificant person in Mumbai. How will he remember me or know me? But I mean, so then that reciprocation of just maybe less than a minute. That interaction on the Zoom visit was less than a minute, but then it just proved that Guru Maharaj, he knows each and every disciple, and he has that loving relation with each and every disciple. It's not like, okay, apparently we might not have spoken much, or there might not have been any interaction, but that doesn't mean that Guru Maharaj doesn't really know us, or he is there. I mean, he's so kind and generous and merciful that he's there to extend his mercy to anyone and everyone. Like, he has really taken that mood of Nityananda Prabhu, that without seeing, I mean, any qualification, disqualification, or anything, he's there to ask on the mercy. And then after that, we came to like Sridham Mayapur in September of 2020, and obviously, I mean, again, I'll not go into details there, because there was COVID, so there was also a lot of restrictions for devotees to go for any service for Guru Maharaj or have his darshan and all. And then we also had a Zoom visit during Mayapur, so that was nothing. And then it so happened that and then in 2022, in Jan of 2022, it so happened that my biological father passed away. But just before his passing away, we had written one email to Guru Maharaj, and I had very deep attachment towards Sridham Mayapur, and I wanted to get married to someone who will be associated with Mayapur, like at least close by, nearby, or more like full-time staying over there. And somehow, like, it was it was a long time, and then we were searching, and then somehow it was not working out, and then so then we had written an email to Guru Maharaj, and then the reply had come, and just after receiving that reply, like less than a month's time, my biological father passed away. So my mother was like really a bit tensed, and now how will things happen, because I was the eldest daughter, and I have like two younger sisters, and I was only not married at the time. So then but then it so happened that like because of Guru Maharaj's mercy, some of the senior disciples living in Sridham Mayapur, Achinta Chaitanya Prabhu and Shiromani Mataji, they took this matter in their hands, and then they were there to help us, guide us, and that's how they connected me. They connected us with Guru Prabhu and his family, and that time he was serving as one of the ground doctors of Guru Maharaj. So it was like, it was just like perfectly Guru Maharaj's merciful arrangement, that I wanted someone associated with Sridham Mayapur who is there to serve in Sridham Mayapur. I wanted a very nice devotee family. So here was a person who was one of Guru Maharaj's personal servants. And then he's also the nephew of Krishna Prabhu, who is like the temple president in Narasimha Temple in Bangalore, and also is looking after various other ISKCON projects. And then my mother-in-law, who is serving full-time in the Narasimha Temple, she does like a variety of services, like flower services, singing services, and certain accounts related service. And then my her mother, her mother's father, he was a Prabhupada disciple. So then, it was just like a perfect thing, because Guru Maharaj, he knows, it was like much more than what I had wanted or what I had expected. So that's again Guru Maharaj's merciful, or the manifestation of his mercy, like how after the passing away of my biological father, he actually stepped into that shoes, and he, through his disciples, everything was arranged. And not just like in terms of getting the marriage fixed, but even through the arrangements and getting everything done, like finally. And I remember like once, when we went to him to give our wedding invitation card, he's like, he always has this a very sweet way of talking to everyone, reciprocating with everyone. So Sridham Mataji was there, and we gave the wedding invitation card to Guru Maharaj, and we requested him that please come and bless us during the wedding. And then Guru Maharaj looked at me and he's like, "You want me to come?" I was like, "Yes, Guru Maharaj, please. We really want you to be there." And so then he was like, okay, he smiled. And then, this was just outside his room on the lotus rooftop. And then his servants took him inside. And yes, he did mercifully come and bless us during the wedding. And we all know, like, it's kind of a bit difficult, like, given the physical health condition, for him to travel, but no matter, he will always be there for his disciples. And that same day, there was another wedding also, so he attended that wedding, and then he came all the way to Rajapur Jagannath Temple to shower his blessings upon us. And then it was like, it just doesn't really stop over there. After that, we went to Bangalore. We went, we finished all the other rituals. And then after that, we came back to Mayapur, because closer to Mayapur, there is a place called Kalyani, where there's a AIMS hospital. And my Prabhu had cleared the interview there, so he was supposed to join there. But so far, we hadn't told Guru Maharaj. So we, immediately after coming to Mayapur, we went to the lotus rooftop, and Prabhu went inside, and he was telling, like, he was sharing with Guru Maharaj that, I've been selected at AIMS Kalyani, and I'll be joining over there. And immediately Guru Maharaj was like so happy, like, he was, wow, that's very nice, because now, it'll be close. Because one of the instructions that Guru Maharaj had given my Prabhu was that, you should serve in the Mayapur Community Hospital. So now that, being in Kalyani, which is just like 2 hours away from Mayapur, that was very closer. And this obviously was a very strategic place, because till the time we have a full-fledged hospital in Mayapur, this AIMS being a government funded institution, they obviously offer treatment at heavily subsidized rates. So it does help a lot of Dhamvasis staying in Sridham Mayapur also. So Guru Maharaj was really very happy, and then he asked Prabhu that, why is your wife? Is she also here? And then he said, yeah, she's just there waiting outside. And then he started asking about further details, like, where will you all stay in Kalyani? Is there a house over there? Because, it's not just like, we can think in one way, like, he's a sannyasi, then why does he have to get into all these nitty-gritties? But then he's also a spiritual father for all of us. So it just shows how much concerned he is, how much affectionate he is, to ensure that, everyone are having a life in which, a conducive life, so that they can practice Krishna consciousness nicely. And typically we see, like, newly married, parents of any newly married kids would want to see that they are having some sort of stability and everything is going on well, at least in the initial part, that supportive role is always there. So here, Guru Maharaj is actually doing it, and it just touched me, like, otherwise, being a sannyasi, why would he want to get, okay, fine. But yes, then that was Guru Maharaj, that, he will always show his concern for all his disciples. Then we had one more incident, like, this was this Vyas Puja, and this year, 2023. I was in Dubai just prior to the Vyas Puja, and Guru Maharaj has this allergic, he's a bit allergic to certain flowers, fresh flowers. So in Dubai, what they do is they make garlands for Guru Maharaj with various ribbons or some kind of cloth and stuff. So when Mataji in Dubai, she had given me And I had never really made a garland full of ribbons. Like we have made garlands in which we have used ribbons to decorate in middle, but primarily just fresh flowers. But then when she gave me, so I made a garland, and then I also had some extra time, so I made another garland. And that other garland was much more beautiful than the first one. So when I showed her both the garlands, she said, I will take the second garland. So she accepted it. And then when Guru Maharaj was returning back from the US to come to Sridham Mayapur, that time, I'm sorry, not US, but then that garland was there. Like after Vyas Puja, when he traveled to US, because he went via Dubai, so it was offered to Guru Maharaj. But then I had that first garland which I had made, which was also okay. I mean, it was not like very beautiful, but it was okay. But then I had a desire that I want to offer this to Guru Maharaj because it's the first garland that I have made. And then I came to Mayapur, and it was a Vyas Puja day. And then, I had shown my Prabhu that, oh, I've made this garland, and it's the first garland, first ribbon garland. And it looks like reasonably good. So I really want to offer this to Guru Maharaj. So then he took it, and like Vyas Puja day, we can imagine in Mayapur, like this Vyas Puja was happening after, like effectively after 3 years in such a grand way, where so many of the senior disciples were actually able to come to Sridham Mayapur, and it was a big, very big, grand celebration. So then, for me, I was just thinking, I don't know when will Guru Maharaj actually get time. I don't even know if we'll go to him or not. And because Prabhu, it was a working day for him in AIMS, so he couldn't come. And then finally he came in the evening, and when he went to the Lotus rooftop to obviously, see Guru Maharaj, have his darshan, and also for certain medical checkup related stuff. So he took this garland with him, and then he offered it to Guru Maharaj, saying that Guru Maharaj, my wife has made it for you. And then Guru Maharaj accepted. He wore it, he accepted it, and then immediately as Maha, he gave it back. I mean, it was given back also. So then that garland, brought it back and he gave it to me, and then now it's like obviously a very valuable treasure, so it's there at home. And then next day, Guru Maharaj he was going to leave from Sridham Mayapur to travel to US, so he was going to go to via Dubai. So then we also planned to go till Kolkata, and then see him from for the send off from Kolkata. So we were in another car, and Guru Maharaj was obviously in his Kia car. So then it's like, at least in Mayapur, it wasn't possible for us to have and speak to him or anything, because Mayapur, like, there's so many devotees, they were all eager to see him. Obviously, it's a very bittersweet moment in Mayapur whenever Guru Maharaj leaves. But there were many devotees assembled there, and then we couldn't. But then we were following in a car, and we were following Guru Maharaj's car, and it so happened that in the middle there was a stop for, I think, for Prashadam or something. And that time we took the opportunity to go near Guru Maharaj and take his blessings, have his darshan. So then when we went, my Prabhu was speaking to him, and then I was just standing, and then he asked Guru Maharaj, who is she? So then my Prabhu was like, oh, she's your dear spiritual daughter, Guru Maharaj. And then Guru Maharaj looks at me and he's like, thank you for the garland. So, at first stage, really, he's like, oh, who is she? As if to show that he doesn't know me. But then at the very next moment, he's like, oh, I know you. Yesterday you gave me a garland. And I was just thinking that, again, why was there a need for him to remember it? Because, being good past Puja Day, he had received so many offerings from so many of his disciples. And this was such a very significant thing. And that too, it was not it was not the best of the things. It was just that because it was the first garland, I wanted it to be offered. Otherwise, there was a better garland which was waiting in Dubai. So I was like, oh, Krishna, he's there too. And then I said, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for accepting it. And then he says that, look, I remembered also that you have given me a garland. So, that was that was an answer to the question that I had in mind, which I didn't express. Like when he said, oh, who is she? So, I just had that one slight thought that, oh, Guru Maharaj doesn't know me, but it was not like that. He was just playing, like how parents play with their kids. So in that way, he was sort of playing with me. And the most memorable the most memorable experience that took place recently in Chennai, because of which, like when I was approached by Nitya Sangini Mataji for this GSS session, so she asked me, like, what would you like the title to be? And immediately when she asked me that, I remembered this incident, and I said, okay, I would like it to be Guru Maharaj, and most loving your spiritual father. So this is the most memorable incident that has taken place. This was in Chennai. Guru Maharaj was in Rela Hospital. My Prabhu was there. Now in Rela, obviously there were a lot of restrictions. Devotees can't be there to freely serve. So I was staying at a little far off place with some devotees. And then when Guru Maharaj got discharged from Rela Hospital and he came back to Ajita Gupta Prabhu's house, and it was just like one day my Prabhu was also there. The next day he was returning back. And it so happened that by mistake, my tickets, there was a mistake in the booking of flight tickets. So instead of having a ticket booked with him, it got booked for a later period, like after a week. And then coincidentally, it so happened that Guru Maharaj also left for Mayapur on that day in the morning, and my flight was in the evening. So so this day, like after Guru Maharaj was there was one doctor who had come to visit Guru Maharaj in Ajita Gopinath's house. And we were there at that other devotee's house where I was staying all these days. So we immediately rushed, and then there was all this discussion between my Prabhu and this doctor who had come to visit Guru Maharaj. And after she left, then Guru Maharaj was like, there was the dining table. So usually he has his dinner inside in his room, but this day he decided to have it there where he was meeting this doctor and everyone. So immediately, we started to clear that table for having it set up for his dinner, and I was cleaning it. And Guru Maharaj was there, like he was already brought there. So I was cleaning in front of me, and my Prabhu was, because he was about to leave for back to Mayapur. So he went to Guru Maharaj and he said, Guru Maharaj, I would like to take your blessings to leave. So then Guru Maharaj looks at him and he's like, you're associating with me, but why is she staying away? So, that was in one way, like it was obviously a bit playful also. He was playing around, playing with both of us very affectionately, very lovingly. And at the time, it was also like, I was always hesitant to, upfront go and talk to Guru Maharaj. Like I used to always say, Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances, receive his blessings. He always has this merciful Jagannath stick. So I would receive his blessings, and then I would just step back, because I used to feel that I'm just so insignificant. Why should I waste this valuable time? So I used to always step back. And then I was like hesitant. And then sometimes, like even if my Prabhu used to tell me, okay, we should ask Guru Maharaj this thing. So I was like, this is such a silly matter. I mean, why should we disturb him for such silly matters? Let's probably ask some of the senior disciples, our senior godbrothers or god sisters, so they can guide us. So that was there, that hesitation or that mood of this thing was there. So then when Guru was like, why is she not associating with me? So then it was like, I heard this from some other Matajis also. Like they also had a similar experience with their spiritual masters, like the disciples of Radhanath Maharaj and so on and so forth. So they also said that, they used to also sometimes not go very much and associate, not associate, but not speak or not take so much time. But even though they used to do that, the spiritual masters were always there to extend their mercy. They were always there to, get these souls back. So I had a similar incident. And then my Prabhu continued. He told Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, now, I'm going back today, but because of this mistake in booking of flights, she'll actually be staying here for another 1 week and serve you, Guru Maharaj. And then I said, I'm so thankful for this opportunity, Guru Maharaj. So then Guru Maharaj looked at me and he said, you are my dear spiritual daughter. So that was, that statement, just hearing that from his mouth, it just made my day. And I was so happy because it just answered all the questions. It reaffirmed the bond that is there. And like all these incidents that were happening were in that line only. Like his mercy was there, his love and affection was there. And then hearing him say that was just amazing that day. And then we obviously continued cleaning the table. And then there was Nalma Mataji, who had assisted that day in cooking for Gurumaharaj the dinner. So she was just standing behind, like while I was cleaning the table, she was there. So she was also hearing this entire conversation. So then Gurumaharaj, he doesn't want anyone to be, anyone to feel left out or feel like, So then he was there. And he tells her Mataji, like he takes her name and he says, so Guru Seva Nandini Mataji, you are also my dear spiritual daughter. So that was again, like, his love and affection is there for everyone. And then obviously, like, he speaks a lot while eating. There is this problem that food sometimes gets stuck in the windpipe. And so then he's medically not supposed to be speaking while eating. So then his servants said, that because he started coughing immediately. So then his servants asked us to leave. So then he was so angry. He said, why are you telling them to leave? I want to talk to them. But then, yeah, like seeing Gurumaharaj coughing so much, we actually entered the kitchen and, so that there's no one there and peacefully Gurumaharaj can have his dinner. And then, but then still, like this Mataji's daughter, Kishori, was there. So after we came inside, Kishori was still standing there. And then Gurumaharaj still attempted once again to speak to Kishori. But then again, because of the coughing thing, now the servants again said, Gurumaharaj, please don't talk. Please have your dinner. So then he also conceded to it. So that's Gurumaharaj. That no matter what his health or any of his physical challenges, it is never a restriction for him. Always he's there to extend his love, affection for his disciples. Like I remember in Chennai, like in Mayapur, we have a special car for Gurumaharaj. So relatively, it's a bit easier to get him into the car and get him out of the car. But it so happened that in Chennai, because he was there for a very short visit, during that visit, he was traveling in a normal car, and it's such a difficult task from a physical point of view to actually get Gurumaharaj from the wheelchair and get him into the car. In fact, it's so painful. Like I witnessed it a couple of times, and I mean, you can the pain in the sense. Gurumaharaj literally screams at times. So we can imagine how painful physically it might be for him. But nevertheless, even though he's at home, there's no mandatory requirement for him to go anywhere. But he will still want to visit the ISKCON temple, go there, meet devotees, give them a class. Like even recently when he was in Chennai, I think it was Janmashtami day. Like his class was not scheduled, but then he wanted to go for darshan. He wanted to go on Balram Purnima only, but that time the health was just not good. So devotees didn't take, his servants didn't take him. But then on Janmashtami, it so happened the health had improved and he was also insisting, so he was taken. So that time, it so happened the class was not planned, but being there, seeing all the devotees, Guru Maharaj said, okay, I want to give a class. That was all impromptu, and then he actually spoke for 10-15 minutes. So this thing I've witnessed, even last year not last year, March of this year, when he was in Chennai for one eye procedure, it so happened that the eye procedure went on for really long. And when he came back, his eye was covered with all those surgical stuff. And it was quite late. It was almost, I think, 9 or 9:30 at night. And the hospital and Ajita Prabhu's house was also quite far away. So after that long, extensive eye procedure, he traveled. And then, any normal person would want to just rest. So the servants declared that today there's going to be no class. All the devotees can leave home. But devotees also were very hopeful. They didn't leave. They were waiting. They were just hoping that maybe Guru Maharaj will at least come out for darshan. So they were all waiting. And then Guru Maharaj had his dinner. And then he insisted that I want to give a class. So then he was brought. And then obviously he didn't do his regular Chaitanya Leela class. But he said, okay, I'll just do a question answer session. But even that question answer session went on at least for half an hour or so. So we can see that, no matter what his physical condition would be, like he has just had an extensive eye procedure. Any normal person also will be like, okay, I want to rest now. But here, Guru Maharaj, because he knows, like when he entered the house, he saw that so many of the disciples were waiting for him. So just to reciprocate, just to not, their hopes get diminished or unfulfilled, he was there. He came out and he actually, like, he just stretched himself. Obviously, I mean, he's transcendental, but just from a physical point of view, he just stretched himself and he gave that. I mean, he had that 30 minutes class. So, and it was not like he was so tired or anything. We asked questions and he was answering in a very jovial, energetic form. Like sometimes I feel like, late at night after a very hectic day, even people like us will not have that much energy and vigor. But Guru Maharaj, even though, physically his health is in that whatever condition, but even though he's 100 times more busy than all of us, yet no matter when we meet him, when we have his darshan, he's always full of enthusiasm and vigor. And just talking to him, like even just maybe one line conversation will just have that energy get transferred to all of us also. So then that is Guru Maharaj. He always wants to lovingly reciprocate with all his disciples. Then as I mentioned that, that Chennai visit, my Prabhu had returned, and because of the flight tickets mistake, I was going to return 1 week later. So then, then coincidentally, it so happened that it got decided that Guru Maharaj will also return to Mayapur on the day I had my flight, but he was going to obviously go in the early morning flight. So when he was leaving from this residence of HG Prabhu, we were downstairs and the disciples, everyone was just working on the logistics, so there was no one. So I went close because they needed someone to hold the door of the car. So I went there to just hold it till Guru Maharaj gets into the car. But then still, they need like 2 or 3 people to lift Guru Maharaj up and have him seated in the car. So Guru Maharaj looked at me and he looks at me and he's like, where's Hari Guru? Where's my Prabhu? So then I said, Guru Maharaj, he went back to Kalyani. So then he had this, question mark expression on his face, like, why are you here? When are you going back? Then I said, Guru Maharaj, I'm also going tonight. My flight is tonight and I'll be going back. So then he oh, okay. So then, it was like that. So, and then I said, Guru Maharaj, we'll see you in Mayapur. So he's like, yes. And I said, happy journey, Guru Maharaj. So he said, thank you. So, that kind of loving exchanges. And then, so then that exchange, and then similarly it happened once again also in one place where I was there and Prabhu was not there. So again, he's like, where's your husband? And, we haven't gone back yet. That time also it so happened that there was some, basically ticketing related issues only. So I hadn't returned. So it just shows that, obviously in one way he wants that principle that husband, wife, they stay together, they serve together, and the wife has to serve the husband. And at the same time, as a spiritual father, as a very loving spiritual father, he's also wanting to ensure, like, this thing didn't strike me. But then one of the Matajis, like Ajita Prabhu's wife, rather Rajeshwari Mataji, she said that Guru Maharaj asks this because he's so concerned for all his spiritual daughters. He wants that, they're happy and in their grihastha life and they're not facing any problems, or there's no, sometimes some misunderstanding or some, basically they should not be having any difficulty with their husband. So she said that, he's asking again and again. Why? Because he wants it. All of you are well taken care of, and, you're all happy in your grihastha life and continue to serve and progress in Krishna consciousness. So then again, that was also so touching that, yes, that's true. That's what every father will want for his daughter. So as I said in the beginning that, girls always have that special connection or special affinity with their fathers more than the mothers. So every time this is there with Guru Maharaj, it just gets demonstrated again and again. And then Guru Maharaj is also so humble. I mean, his love affection is there, but at the same time, he's always very humble and very, very grateful. Like once when I was in Chennai, Shiromani Mataji, to our youth girls, she was organizing these 24 hours japa sessions for Guru Maharaj for his speedy health recovery. And then one of the weekends, she had organized a 24 hours Kirtan, where, for 24 hours continuously in different slots, girls would either do japa or do Kirtan for the speedy health recovery of Guru Maharaj. So, since I was in Chennai and I was also helping in that organizing part, they had asked me to let Guru Maharaj know and seek his blessings. So Guru Maharaj was just about to leave for the hospital, and he had come out and he was just waiting to get into the lift. And I mentioned to Guru Maharaj, like, Guru Maharaj, Shrimani Mataji, and she's organizing this 24 hours japa for your speedy health recovery, and we would like to seek your blessings. And it's just like we're so grateful to you, man. So then he took both his, like, he folded both his hands, bent down his head, and he said, "Thank you." And I was just speechless. I was like, I mean, I didn't know how to respond to Guru Maharaj when he said thank you, because we were doing it as a token of our gratitude to our spiritual father, to Guru Maharaj. But then he was saying thank you, and I was like, oh, Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I mean, I just couldn't say anything. And the disciples took him in the lift, and then Shiromani Mataji, and then when I shared this to Shiromani Mataji, she was saying that, we are so indebted to Guru Maharaj that no matter what we do, we just cannot repay his debt. So these things are just like some small things that, we can just do to express our gratitude for so much. I mean, like, what Guru Maharaj does for us, what has done for us, just impossible to repay. But this was Guru Maharaj that, he wants to reciprocate in a loving way for every for the smallest of the thing that someone comes and offers to him or does for him. Like once in Chennai, he loves mangoes, but his dietitians have said that he's not allowed to take mangoes at all. And once there was this conversation with the dietitian, and then there was too much to and fro. So then this dietitian finally says, okay, you can have one mango in a year, just one mango in a full year. And that year's quota was already over. Then next day, it so happened that devotees brought so many mangoes to offer to Guru Maharaj. Now, I don't know, maybe, these devotees, they didn't know that he's not allowed to have mangoes, or maybe knowing that Guru Maharaj loves mangoes, they got mangoes. So there were like so many mangoes that were brought to Guru Maharaj. And it was offered to Guru Maharaj, and then it was kept. And then Guru Maharaj went back in his room, and at the time of dinner, he asked his disciples, "Get me some mangoes." When disciples got mangoes for me, and now the servants are in a fix, because, see, you can't lie. I mean, they know that Guru Maharaj has seen the offerings and he remembers everything. So then they went outside, and immediately it was all distributed, and then they came back and they tell Guru Maharaj, no mangoes are there, they're all distributed to the devotees. So Guru Maharaj was asking, how many mangoes were there and how many did you all distribute? So just to ensure that, like, even from a count, like, even if like one mango was left, he wants to accept that offering of his disciples. So that's why, in COVID, those Zoom calls, very nicely used to say that lots of love, but no calories. So he can accept everything that his disciples offer him without, all these dietary restrictions. So that was, again, Guru Maharaj. And I would like to end with one pastime. So this was after my initiation. So I got initiated in March of 2020. So the Vyas Puja of that year, so April 2020. In one of the offerings, I had heard that, Guru Maharaj. So this was before, like, this was in the early days, means like 2000 or 2002, something like that. It so happened in Malaysia. Guru Maharaj, he had one disciple, and Guru Maharaj was visiting Malaysia. And as usual, like, he has a very busy schedule. But then this first disciple had some questions for Guru Maharaj, and basically something like some personal matter he wanted to consult Guru Maharaj. And it so happened that there was no time. So Guru Maharaj was talking to him late at night, and then Guru Maharaj wanted to use the washroom, and the conversation hadn't ended. So it was not like he said, okay, you go away, we'll talk later. But then Guru Maharaj went in the washroom, and the door is shut. So now Guru Maharaj is inside, and his devotee is outside, and then the conversation continues. Like, so this was Guru Maharaj's concern that till the time the matter for which this disciple had consulted Guru Maharaj, till a resolution had not been done, or till he clearly didn't say to this disciple what he's supposed to do, Guru Maharaj just didn't leave it off like that, or he just didn't, like say, okay, we'll go tomorrow or something like that. Even though like he was in the washroom, very lovingly he was talking. So then this disciple in the Vyas Puja offering was sharing that, how loving Guru Maharaj is. And it just struck me, like, of all the Vyas Puja offerings, I don't remember everything that was shared, but this one incident I've never forgotten. And then it so happened that recently we also me and my Prabhu, we also had some matter for which a lot of discussion, deliberation was going on, and then we consulted our counselors, and then still we had some questions, and then so then our counselor said, okay, why don't you all ask Guru Maharaj himself? So but then yes, now that with Guru Maharaj, obviously very busy schedule, plus recently medically also there have been a lot of health challenges. So we went to Lotus Rooftop. We were hoping that we'll get a chance. If not today, we can, we'll maybe talk tomorrow or something like that. It was Saturday evening, and Guru Maharaj completed his Chaitanya Leela class. It was like 9:30. And then my Prabhu went inside because he had to, obviously, from a medical point of view, do certain checkup. And I was just chanting outside. So all the devotees after the class had left, but I was just chanting outside. And I was hoping that, maybe we might get a chance to speak to Guru Maharaj. My Prabhu might get a chance to speak to Guru Maharaj today. And I was just chanting and waiting outside. And then Lotus building. So then again, the class is over. It's already 9:30. And Guru Maharaj, usually he will wind up and go to sleep by 10:30. So then there was not much time after the medical procedures were done for actually to talk to him. But then, like again, it so happened that Guru Maharaj was in the washroom, and at that time, my Prabhu and Guru Maharaj, basically, my Prabhu consulted Guru Maharaj for the question that we had. So Guru Maharaj was listening, he was asking questions, like he was asking about further details. And so then when I saw that, like, when I was outside, so it happens in Lotus building that, somehow the window is in a way that if there's any conversation happening in the washroom, we can hear it outside. So I was there and I just heard voices, and based on what I heard, I knew, this is the question for which we wanted to consult Guru Maharaj, and my Prabhu's voice, so that was also familiar. So I was like, okay, this is the conversation happening. So there also there's one more thing that I wanted this question. We wanted this question to be asked to Guru Maharaj, and I had a desire that I also want to be present in the room when this question is being asked. Obviously, I would not ask. Like as I said, I've always been hesitant and all, but I wanted to be there. But then it's not practical because after the Chaitanya Leela class, when Guru Maharaj is going to bed, he will be in his, sometimes in his gamcha and all, where Mataji's, they're not allowed. So I was okay, like whatever Prabhu will ask, and then, whatever, then he'll tell me whatever is the conclusion. But I had a desire, and I didn't really express it till then to anyone. But it so happened by Guru Maharaj's mercy and, Krishna's arrangement that the conversation happened in the washroom, and because of the window, outside even I could hear what conversation was happening. And so then, in that time, it immediately reminded me of this first incident of this devotee whose experience I had heard during the Vyas Puja offering, that how no matter what, no matter how busy Guru Maharaj is, he is there to help each and every of his disciples. And okay, in the early days, we can say that, there were less disciples, but now there's so many disciples. And just recently, we were talking to Rajapriya Mataji, who is handling the JPSE care. And she was saying that there's so many emails that come to Guru Maharaj on this email ID, that there's so many messages that come on the app, and I think there's also one mobile thing. So in all these things, and then they compile a concise summary report, and everything is presented to Guru Maharaj. So despite Guru Maharaj, having so many GBC responsibilities, so many responsibilities for the TOVP project in Mayapur, his own personal health challenges, whatever. Even as we speak right now, he is admitted in one of the hospitals in Bangalore. But despite all this, and having so many disciples, I mean, the maximum that any ISKCON Guru has, still he has time to listen to each and every of his disciples. All these things is presented to him. Whatever, people are asking for blessings for birthday, wedding, this, that, everything gets presented to Guru Maharaj. And every time we write an email, we do get a reply. There might be a time lag, but we have always got replies to all the emails that we send to Guru Maharaj. So, there's just no stopping. He has, indefinitely, just so many times he's given this very clear message that he's there for all his disciples. And, he's there as that loving spiritual father for everyone. There's no boundary, or there's nothing which can actually come between him and his disciples. So he has that merciful mood of Nityananda Prabhu to take everyone, to deliver everyone back home, back to Godhead. So with that, I would like to stop here. And if I've made any mistakes, then please forgive me. And once again, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to glorify our dear spiritual master, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a wonderful, sharing your experiences. My wife is also there. She was hearing. She was saying, Mataji is so enthusiastic talking about Guru Maharaj. You can see. And like you were saying, how much Guru Maharaj cares for us. So recently, 2 months back, I was blessed. We both were blessed with a baby girl. So I just informed Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, we are blessed with the baby girl, and then you please bless her. And then he was like, okay, I want to choose a name for her. So I was surprised. Oh, Guru Maharaj is I just emailed Guru Maharaj only for the blessings for the daughter. And he was like, regarding your daughter's name, send me the date, time and birth, place of birth, and I'll choose a name for her. So it is, really heart touching that, so many disciples Guru Maharaj is having, and still he's checking all the emails that he's receiving. So it is so wonderful to know that. Yes, yes. Okay. So any devotee has any questions to ask Mataji? Any devotee wants to ask any question from Mataji? Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay, I think nobody has any question. Any devotee wants to say something?
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just want to thank you for the very nice lecture. Your experiences you have shared with us. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Thank you for the experience you shared with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay, there is a question from Lalitangi Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell some pastimes before your marriage, as you are from a devotee family?
Yeah. So actually, my parents, they were disciples of Bhakti Damodar Maharaj, and I did have so much of direct personal interaction with Guru Maharaj before my initiation, because it was more like whenever we were in Mayapur, we used to also obviously have his darshan, and that time, this was before his stroke. So every morning after Mangalati, he used to take this group of kids and go for a walk, like Goshala, and then walk through the Grihastha housing area. So we have those memories, like how as kids we used to go along with Guru Maharaj for this nice morning walk. And but there was one incident which was also like just showing his loving nature. So we were in Mayapur in 2006, and my youngest sister was born, and like after maybe whatever, like 1 or 2 months, I don't remember. But then my father had taken her to temple on the very first day, like the first time, the first visit to temple, and Guru Maharaj was also there. So my father took her to Guru Maharaj and said, that Guru Maharaj, she's just like born just recently, and please give her your blessings. So Guru Maharaj kept his Jagannath stick on her head, and then he didn't say anything. So my father was again like, Guru Maharaj, please bless her so that she can be a good devotee. And then Guru Maharaj looked at my father and was like, what did I just do now? So that was one very sweet incident. And the other thing was also like initiation. Not initiation. Before that, after stroke, Guru Maharaj had come to Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mumbai, and that time we were also in Mumbai. And it was just like 6 months back. We were in Mayapur, and we had seen Guru Maharaj, and we have all these memories of going around. And then he used to come to our school for the annual day functions as the chief guest, and then bless all the kids who were participated in the performances. So we had like that, very sweet and amazing Guru Maharaj. And like spiritually speaking, yes, we should not be seeing the physical condition of the spiritual master. But then when we saw him in Mumbai after stroke, it was very painful to see him like that, like even when he used to speak. I still remember his wonderful classes in Mayapur. And then when he was there, in Bhaktivedanta Hospital, he was, I think, there on the 3rd or the 4th floor. And that time, on the 5th floor, every Monday, there is an auditorium. So there used to be a Monday satsang program where one of the brahmacharis from Radha Gopinath temple would come and give a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. So because Guru Maharaj was there, they used to invite Guru Maharaj. And obviously, considering his health condition, they used to not like call him very often, but they'd called him once and he was giving a class. So it was a bit painful to see. But then, what was the most inspiring point that time was that even though he was in such a difficult, in that way, his health condition, just recovering from the stroke, and is one of the sides is fully paralyzed, the speech is not so clear, yet he knew that every Monday the session happens, and every Monday he wanted to come and attend it. Devotees were not persistent, that they were not insistent that he comes, but they had expressed their desire. Guru Maharaj, please come and address all the devotees here, even if it's just a short class of 10-15 minutes, but please come. So then Guru Maharaj would make it the point that either for a full class or at least for like 5 or 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the class, he will come and he will address. So almost all the Mondays of this time where Guru Maharaj was there, he used to come and he used to address the devotees at that. So that was really very, very heart touching. And then there are, that time we used to hear so many passages that, like how he used to, all the doctors used to be so tense, but Guru Maharaj used to be joking around with the doctors. And someone asked, some discussion about blood group. So then Guru Maharaj, the doctors and all were feeling a bit worried about the health condition. So then Guru Maharaj says, my blood group is B positive. And then immediately it eased out the tension in that room, and all the doctors also became relieved. And so, these pastimes we used to hear from Shiromani Mataji and the other doctors who were serving Guru Maharaj that time. And then, over the years, I've always been attached to Mayapur. So even though we were in Bombay, but all the festivals and everything, I used to watch it on Mayapur TV. So, and then because, Mayapur means Guru Maharaj, like we just cannot separate the two. It's like that. So but then after I completed my CA, when, then I was like, okay, now I want to take initiation. So, but then I was like, see, I don't want to, I had heard one pastime of one devotee, how he received initiation from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and the name that Radhanath Maharaj gave him had a significance in the sense what had happened in his life. So he was given a name which signifies, I don't remember the name, but it's basically meant that he is he is basically a recipient of the mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam. And after receiving that name, this devotee was just crying. He was like, how does Maharaj know? Because the history is that his parents, they were not getting a child, after despite so many attempts, either there was a miscarriage or the mother was not able to conceive. So then their family members, they did a lot of reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like there were all the Srimad Bhagavat Saptas arranged at their home, and Yajna, the Bhagavatam Yajna, and so many things, that after worshipping Srimad Bhagavatam, this child was born. So but then obviously, they were not connected to ISKCON. They were pious, normal pious religious. And then this person got connected to ISKCON after retirement. So after he was 60 years, and then he achieved initiation. So he was so touched. So after hearing that pastime, I was like, I also want something like this. I want to get initiated, but I want that mercy to be the spiritual master, that I don't want to go and say that, okay, this. I want to get initiated, but that has to flow to me. So then it so happened that I was in Mayapur, and I didn't say initially that, I want to take initiation. That time, in the heart, it was always there. I want to take initiation, and then, from Gurumaharaj, but then that time, I didn't say it. But then before that visit only, I heard this pastime, and I was like, this time I'm going to Mayapur. So I was praying to Nityanand Prabhu that, please, bless me with a spiritual master. Now I really want to take. And then the chain of events took place. It's already past night, so I'm not getting into that. And then finally, we spoke to Manigopal Prabhu, and this is also Guru Maharaj's mercy only, that for me, both the shelter and initiation forms were filled. They were filled simultaneously, and in that short span of 6 months, Kartik, we approached Manigopal Prabhu, and then God Purnima, I was blessed to receive initiation by Guru Maharaj. So these are some of the sweet pastimes and memories prior to initiation. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for all the wonderful pastimes. This was really new to me, that Guru Maharaj used to take, like you were saying, kids for a round.
Yeah.
So, thank you
Yes.
for sharing. Okay. Any other devotee, anything I want to ask? Say. Okay, I think no. So thank you, Mataji, for sharing all the wonderful and sweet pastimes of Guru Maharaj. This is how most of us who are very new and have connected to ISKCON recently. So that's how we can get to know more about Guru Maharaj. So thank you for giving a wonderful association and agreeing to come for the wonderful for our JSSS. So on behalf of all the JSSS, all the assembled devotees and Iskcon Seshadripuram JSSS, we would like to thank you, Mataji, by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna. All glory to Guru Maharaj, all glory to Sridham.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Pranam.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam, Mataji.